just a little bit about the space. Well, what is the space? Well, there's a load of suffering in our world, isn't there? Eh? Like everywhere you look, there's suffering, and even in people who like, let's say people who look like they got it together, who on the outside might be seemingly confident and happy, and even in people, like myself, like a lot of people would misinterpret me, thinking I'm just sort of someone who goes around going, "Hey, life's wonderful, life's happy," but I go through it like everyone else. I feel that's what is so important about this space is that we are ultimately muddling through it together, and that's what I feel is so wonderful because there are many platforms out there. There's many arenas out there where you can go and get help, you can go and get support. You might have to pay for it, you might not. But it always felt to me, having spent a lot of time going through different help offerings throughout the world, it always felt to me that there was a disconnection or there was a hierarchy. There never felt to me like it felt like someone was there who just like they're just with me. They're just coming along for the ride. And ultimately, that's what we're doing, right? And if anyone tells you otherwise, that they've got your answers, they're fucking lying. This it's a con. And that's not to say that we have not got enough experience in life. Myself, Swiss, anyone else who eventually comes onto the team on TruthWorks, to say that we haven't got enough experience. If we have, we've got life experience. Swiss has been through it. I've been through it. I think any good guide has been through it. I think that's that should be your certificate, your battle scars. So this space, if you don't know what it's like, this is your first time here. Like we had a very similar offering called the Hearing Heart, and it was great. There's people here in the room tonight that were featured on the Hearing Heart with their wonderful stories and their courageous hearts coming to the forefront of wanting to change whatever's not working in the world through them. And I guess like for us, for me in Swiss, like the Hearing Heart was a success, right? I look at that very fondly. However, it never felt to me that it got to the crux of it. Yeah. Now, you've probably seen a lot of our communications that have gone out in the last few days and weeks, and you can see that this platform, TruthWorks, is being propelled towards men. All right. Now, that's not to say women are not welcome. Yeah. Anyone who's fucking suffering is anyone who's got too much on their plate. Anyone who just needs to fucking offload, you're invited. This is not gender specific. However, I'm a man. Swiss is a man. We are naturally geared to be able to help men. Yeah. That's not to say we can't help women, but we can explain to men from a masculine perspective how we got back on track, how we can become the men that we want to be. Yeah. I feel the experience of being a man puts me puts me in a better place to be able to do that, you know. So that's predominantly what we're aiming this space towards, all right? Because I also feel, and I don't want to go too into the geopolitical arena, but the issues with our world, I feel fundamentally a lot of that is because of the male role and the female role as well. But I mean, for me personally, the male role has been absolutely desecrated, trampled on. And there's so many different factors, socio-economic factors, societal factors that are we don't need to go into them here. That's not what this space is about, but we all feel it. We can all see it in society. We can all see it in our relationships. We can look around and we know men. We know men who've suffered. We know men who've had problems with substance abuse. We know men that are suicidal or have taken their own lives. I'm one of them, you know. So the idea is that we offer this space, someone comes up, and look, something about that as well, because that's very important as well. If you look at the other options out there around the world that offer similar things, you're looking at things like AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, or Narcotics Anonymous, or Cocaine Anonymous, or Gambling Anonymous. The thing that's already always fucking annoyed me about that, and my life has run very, very close to the rooms, and I've been in many a meeting myself. The thing that really always, yeah, annoyed me, irritated me, was the anonymity, it being anonymous. Now I know that serves some people, right? Because maybe you've got a profession in life, you've got something where you can't just go out and say, listen, I'm an alcoholic, or I'm an addict, or I'm suffering, I'm depressed, I'm suicidal. Perhaps your position in life, you can't do that. However, I believe personally is that by creating that space which is anonymous, there is an element somewhere in that fabric of shame still. All right. And that is why I feel this is different. And like, listen, hats off. I know so many people. My best friend who has been struggling with substance abuse for the last 10 years and got to the point where he was going to kill himself. Like, this is like very, very recent as well. And I think he's now coming up to 6 months, 7 months clean from going into the room. So I mean, I've got nothing but respect for that space that they offer. However, I do know that we shouldn't ever rest on our laurels and say to ourselves, you know what, that works, so that's it. Because I know that there's other stuff that we can do. I know that the world is progressing and evolving, and we have to meet it. And I believe personally that one of the things that is very, very powerful about this is that you're here, mate. You're here. You're right here. And there are people in this room with you, and this is recorded. And of course, if you were to feature in any of these episodes, then we are always going to ask you your absolute certainty that you're happy for us to share this with other people, to be able to reach more people so they can see the positive effect, the transformative effect that we can have. But that said, we'll ask permission from whoever's up here. But again, the thing is for me is that my cards have always been on the table, right? I'll tell you everything about me, as I'm sure you all know. And I think that puts me in a position of strength because I've got nothing to hide. My cards are here. I'm willing to tell you about the times that I've spent days fucking at the window because I've sniffed more cocaine. I've probably sniffed all of your lot's share of cocaine in my life. I've fucking boozed, I've dropped E's, I've fucking been involved in pretty serious episodes of crime and violence. I've fucking tried to kill myself. There's a lot of stuff that like a lot of people wouldn't want to share, but I don't think that's the way. I think the way is just to go, this is me, mate, and I'm colourful, and I've got experience, I've got history, I've got scars. I've got a burden that I carry with me, and I want to lay that on the table tonight. And I want to say to people, do you know what? This is who I am, and I ain't got no fucking shame with it. All I want is to get back on track. And we believe this is the space to do that. So format, how things work is that when someone decides to come up and have a conversation with us, and that's all it is, right? It's just a conversation. When that happens, we ask everyone else to turn their cameras off, just so we can create a very focused, engaged space. That goes for your microphones as well, by the way. We can really, really home in on this very, very focused, attentive space that we want to create between whoever is in the hot seat. We've got told off this week about calling it a hot seat. Someone went out their way to email us and said, listen, you need a new fucking name. We was like, we know, duh. We fucking know, but what else do you call it? And they put at the end of their email, it should be called Love Seat. And I was like, well, that's gay. That's not going to work. So we don't know. Listen, it's just the center of our attention. Yeah, that's what it is. You take that seat, then you become the center of the attention of the room. The focus of the room is now on you. Yeah, that's all it is. The limelight. All right. And some people are terrified by that. and rightly so. But let me tell you, if you're ever sitting there and you're thinking to yourself, do you know what? I really want to share something. I really want to go. I've really got. I want to get over this fucking thing that I'm holding on to, but I can't. Then all of that stuff is just that's just our programming again. That's another shadow part of us saying that, do you know what? I don't want to. I don't want to do this. I want to keep you in that place. I want to keep you there where you're under the control of very, very archaic programming. And the way to break out of that is to rip the fucking plaster off, isn't it? It's just to go, fuck that, mate. I'm not listening to that anymore. So again, like I say, this is not aimed specifically at men. It's aimed at specifically at people who've lost their way. But if there are any dudes out there who want to come and have a conversation, then please, you're more than welcome. I invite you to. And if there's not, then we'll take anyone. So this is the time, right, where you the hug seat, Joel said. It's still a bit gay. We've got to be careful with that. um, the truth seat, yeah, maybe it's not too bad. The golden seat. Now we're just what we doing here? This has turned into a fucking marketing exercise. We're trying to rebrand the fucking hot seat. I just feel like it doesn't really matter. It's like I said to Swiss before we jumped on here. I just said it to me. It doesn't really matter at all. You know what it's called. That's not the point. And if it does deter someone because of the name of what the of what the seat's called, then I'm going to say that that's probably a feeble excuse that has been generated by an old part of you that wants to keep you in place. You know, so the receipt of responsibility and help, Ian reckons. That's a fucking mouthful, isn't it? Try saying that on a fucking Instagram reel. All right then. Anyone?